we look at abundance, and most of the time we think in terms of money. And that's not what abundance is about at all. And that was clearly spelled out by Christ in the parable to the rich man, is you can have all those things you want, but unless you're willing to set that aside and look at other aspects of life, you're going to miss out on the kingdom. It's not there for you. And money, or the way that we've come to look at it, abundance, is an adjunct. It's something that's added along the way. It's not the primary objective. And few of us have the consciousness that, we mentioned Paul Newman earlier, that he had in spreading that kind of wealth around the planet. And there's others that have done the same thing. And I wonder when the point in time comes that we stop thinking in terms of accumulation and start thinking in terms of distribution. And that is a different viewpoint, but it is something that we need to do it. And how long do we need to continue to accumulate before we start thinking in that process in a larger fashion? And my word, there's several things that come to mind, but I remember a gentleman years ago that began the famous Amos Cookie Company, and I got to meet him on a couple occasions, and he was just a real gentle black soul walking around the planet having a ball because a bunch of people were buying his cookies, and he eventually sold that company for $240 million. And he was laughing all the way to the bank, but when I talked to him, and it was pretty funny, and it's back a few years ago, as we had met up at a place, and I said, "Do you really do $240 million in cookies?" He says, "Unbelievable, isn't it?" And he said, "But the thing about it is it's not so much as how much was sold, it's how many people benefited by it. How many people had jobs, how many people, were able to support their families," because he was very poor when he started out, and he didn't have anything. And in fact, how he started out was he was a talent agent for some black entertainers, and he actually would go to their interviews, not interviews, but their auditions. He would take them because he dealt with poor folk, and he didn't have anything, and he would take his cookies to these auditions. And at some point in time, he ran into Sammy Davis Jr. at one of the auditions, and Sammy Davis got together with two other guys, and they each put up $1 million and put this guy in the cookie business. And that's what happened. And he never looked back from there. And I don't know what he's doing today, but his thing was helping people. And it ended up through cookies that he helped a lot of people. And his thing was not how much money he was making or how much he could make when he went to those auditions giving out free cookies. His thing was trying to help somebody get a job. And it turned out that he did a great deal of benefit in his time. And like I say, I don't know where he is now or what he's doing, but I'm sure he's quite happy with the things as they turned out. And I wonder for ourselves, as we have such a stress and such an emphasis on how we're going to pay for things. And let's face it, in any of our situations, this past week we've had economic things going on. It's impossible to avoid it. I went to bed one night and woke up the next morning to know that the bank that I deal with was seized by the feds and sold to somebody else, and terrific. So, and how does that affect me? I don't know. I went and got my money out of the ATM and continued to spend, so I don't know that it affected me in any way. And then I read that some gentleman who had just assumed, because the bank wasn't doing as well as it was supposed to, had taken over as the new CEO of operations, and he was on the job for 17 days and got fired. Poor chap. And no golden parachute. He only got $20 million for his 17 days. So I wonder I wonder what happened. Can I get another job soon? I don't know, but the pay scale that he's operating. So it makes you wonder about, is there really a shortage of anything? And it makes you wonder about other things, of political maneuvers and paybacks and all of the rest of it. And then, of course, I heard the rumor that Mr. Bush has called a meeting with Obama and McLean, and he's going to tell them that there'll be no election this year because this country's in a state of financial crisis, and under the Patriot Act, he's going to remain president for the next 2 years. It's just another way. It's just another way of looking at it. But it was on the news, and it was speculation, and that kind of things. So, you can see that some people are looking at a certain situation to be coming to an end, and others are looking for it to continue in one fashion or another. And all I'm saying is, regardless of the situation, regardless of the event, regardless of the spectacularness of it, regardless of the number of people involved, whatever your way of thinking is, there is another way of looking at it. And that's really the point of this morning, is start looking at things another way. You've been looking at them this way all your life. Start viewing them in another fashion. And I don't mean just any old other fashion, but I mean start looking to upgrade the thought process to better ideas for both yourself, those around you, and your country. And you'll achieve a great deal. So we as stewards have come to a certain point in time. And I guess there's one lady that you guys know, I won't mention her name, that's part of the group, but she mentioned to me that, all of these years she thought she was dedicated, and then she realized she hasn't been. But now she is 100% dedicated. But all these years, and she's one of the most dedicated people I know. And she's realized that within herself, there's room for more. Although she probably puts all of us to shame with how much she works at what she does. Really kind of interesting. So it's just that idea, that concept, that there's room for growth, there's room to elevate, stretch our mentalities, and make us look at things in a higher or better fashion. And I want us all to be looking at that during this week. And I think we'll conclude there. So join me all now in the acceptance statement on page 5. Now, may the light illumine our mind with wisdom. May love fill our heart with understanding. May the one life shine forth from our innermost being, so that we walk renewed in light, life, love, today, tomorrow, and forever.